Hi there, it's me, Jordan Van Haslo. Welcome to Jordan Van Haslo and Friends live on Hot 702.5 FM Las Vegas. Let's get on with the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another week of Showtime with Jordan Van Haslo and Friends. I'm so happy to have a new friend here joining us this week, someone I met a couple years ago working on a project that's still in post-production. But she was an absolute fun. I got a chance to film quite a few scenes with her, and a couple of times I had to do like multiple takes because I was laughing so hard. So I'm so glad she's here with us, and we're going to get to learn a little bit more about her and what she does. So without further ado, Kym Priess, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi. Yeah, that was so long ago.
I know. It really was. I was thinking, because we're in 2023 now. I think that was 2021, wasn't it?
I think it was. Wasn't like August or
August, and then I think we came back in January to pick up to do some reshoots. Were you there in January?
I was not. No, I didn't do any reshoots.
There were some scenes that had to be reshot, and so we did that.
Because we nailed ours. That's why.
So what have you been up to since? You do a lot. You're a musician. You're an actor. You're in everything.
Gosh, where do we start? What if we can start with right now?
Yeah, tell me about right now. What are you doing right now?
Right now, okay, yeah, I'm all those things you said, you know. But right now, okay, well, actually, hold on. Let's see. So right now, I am experiencing a bit of a rebirth, shall we say. So when I went to NYU in the 90s, I'm gonna kind of jump around a little bit, I guess. But when I went to NYU in the 90s, that's when I was introduced to, clown, performance art, right? All these like multidisciplinary hybrid forms.
Yeah.
Which, as a high school thespian and wanting to be a movie star and rock star since I was like 5, once I got there, I was like, oh, and don't get me wrong, I did the whatever private acting classes in high school, whatever. Did some shit. But was in a movie with Heather Locklear. My dad showed up on set and he was like, hey, you know much about horses? He's like, put me in the movie. But yeah, I grew up in Austin, Texas, moved to New York. I was like 17 in the 90s. Not dating myself. But yeah, so it was there that I was introduced to, all those like I said, multidisciplinary forms where I was like, what do you mean? Wait, so you mean like I can like make this like weird image and I can move my body in this way and I can like be like really like comedic and clowny and there's rock and roll? You know what I mean? It like sort of like gave me permission, even though I wasn't necessarily combining all those things at once, but that's really where
you realized that it didn't have to be as linear as you thought it was. Yeah.
Exactly. Like when you say, oh, you're an actor, I'm like that word kind of like like I'm like just an actor is what my brain says, So sorry for just an actors out there. But so speaking of rebirth, yes, I do have this project. Okay, everybody that's listening, they did not send me any questions in advance, so these are unprepared answers.
That's what makes this so fun.
Yeah, I love it. Actually, I had nothing to prepare, so it was great. No, I do have a project called STUNTDRIVER, which is a rock spectacle. It's immersive. It's taken many forms. Like when it debuted in 2018, what I thought was like, I'm just gonna create this simple little solo project. I've been in all these bands. I'm just gonna work on this thing by myself. Nope, turned it into this like whole production. Yes, I guess it's still my baby, but it turned into like a big old immersive production, actors, set, whole deal. Right? Paid everybody with my own money, went into a ton of debt. It was great. But then I was like, well, how do I continue this? So that continued into like concert forms, as a full band, solo, duo, etc. So, okay, so that was going before the pandemic. And the pandemic happened. And I kind of, I started doing a bunch of live streams and went back to solo.
Uh-huh.
And shall I say, in that project, I guess every project I do, there's always like comedic, absurd, clownish element. Because the trick with rock and roll and clown is how do you keep the vulnerability of clown, but yet kind of the cool factor of rock and roll.
Totally.
It's tricky. It's tricky. So I have this like weird alter ego character I do named the Influencer, and she's very clowny and she's fun. But I've done it for so long now, so I'll get back to the rebirth part in a little bit. I didn't even go there, but I was like, well, shit, I should give you some history. But she's so fun to play. Like I'm trying to like kill her off maybe, but she's really fun to play. So anyways, kept doing those shows. Then I started doing the live streams during the pandemic, like lockdown, right? Kind of went back to the OG. And yeah,
did you do a lot of those? I feel like throughout the pandemic, every time I opened my computer or opened up my Facebook feed, somebody else was singing at me. And and I was in the first half of the pandemic. I was like,
I know. Well, people are like
in Las Vegas, and like literally everybody I know, like every time I opened up my computer, someone else was singing.
No. I played acoustic guitar on Instagram once during the pandemic, and it was only because I was like doing a show or something for something. But actually, people really liked it because I don't play acoustic guitar much. So, but no. To answer your question, no, I did like weird shit characters and stuff like that, and I tried to start a variety show, but then my dad got really sick and I did not finish that. So I'm gonna do a live one soon. But okay, to get back, so then that last year, world opens up, right? Such a yang year. We're all like, make the things, do the things, put the things out, or put the things out that you already made, or whatever.
Totally.
So like I find the record finally came out that was supposed to come out in like 2020, all that shit. And played last year. STUNTDRIVER was like STUNTDRIVER year. Played out so much as a band, solo, because I was kind of like, can you tour? Oh, you can't? Okay, see ya. So I took myself on the road. Ended up opening for Peaches on 2 shows, which is like a
awesome.
Like life goal situation, been writing that one down for like 20 years. What's that?
I said, how did that come about?
Somebody recommended me to the booker, to the booking agent.
Oh, there you go.
But then told me to email and follow up and like kind of submit myself. And then the boss approved me.
Following up is usually 90% of the.
But yes, it was running in. I think it was, LA running into the right people, people seeing you, But I will say, I've been writing that shit down for 20 years. You know what I mean? I've been manifesting that. So, it's all, what do they say? What is it? I always screw up this quote. The whole luck, preparation.
Luck meets preparation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was ready. I had just taken myself. She specifically wanted a solo act. She didn't want a band just for the ease of setup, in front of them. And I was ready. I had just finished like a solo tour in May. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, let's roll. But but yeah, so STUNTDRIVER all last year, right? And it's for those people that haven't seen it, it's very conceptual, it's very performance arty. It's like, I play these alter egos. It's like the light and the dark. It's sort of electro-rock, sonically, I guess I would call it. However, right now, in the midst of the rebirth that I'm about to describe, I am like really wanting to go back to not only like my heavier music roots, just like I really love like heavier shit and like so going back to that. And I mean, I'd love to not have backing tracks, but when I play solo, it's a whole act still, even when I'm solo. So, but and I'd love to just have like a straight up band that can play with me, but it's really hard and expensive to have a band these days.
Totally.
Unless you got like 4 of you who are like, yeah, here, we all contribute equally. We all have this much time. We all can go on the road. It's like fucking bananas. And it's so expensive to go on the road. So, yeah, there's got to be enough money to bring people out for this project. That's just how this project works. Okay, the Rebirth. So the Rebirth is, there's this amazing theater down the street from me that used to be a million different things. And I guess it was last year, but I was so stunt driver goggled, I didn't know what was going on there. The beginning of this year, you know, I'm kind of like, okay, 3 and 23, open slate. What's next? What's coming? Not that I'm quitting stunt driver or anything, but I was like, what's next? And I had driven by this place. I was like, what's going on over there now? I come home and I'm like, sitting right here. And turns out it's like alternative comedy, clown. And I'm like, what? My house down the street, I could ride my bike there. And so yeah, so I'm just like full in, and it is just, there's, you know, there's nights where you can like last night I went, there's like clown jam, you know, we can try out all these different bits. And the beautiful thing about it is it's like I can try out a million different things, like all the fucking ideas in my head, and I don't have to commit to like creating an entire project that I spend thousands and thousands of dollars on, you know what I mean?
Totally.
So it's so freeing. Actually, after this interview, I'm going to go try this character, this thing. But so, yeah. And I've just been having so much fun, and it's taking me back to the, like, I feel like I'm in like college again. Like it's taking me back to those NYU days of like, oh, the possibilities, you know. So,
as at NYU, like we're creating characters, and it's improv and like sketch comedy. Was that kind of like where you really were drawn?
Well, it was creating your own work. So I was in the experimental theater wing and the drama program, and it was, yes, we worked on characters, absolutely. We worked with scripts too, but there was clowning, there was voice, there was all kinds of crazy movement shit. You know, African dance was like one of my fucking favorite classes, dude. It was so fun. We were like, you know, shaking it like across the room. You know, they'd be like, "Your turn, solo." And you're like, you know, like, yeah, it was like West Indian African dance. It was amazing. You know, contact improv, 6 viewpoints, all these things to develop an awareness of time and space and presence, imagination, you know. Yeah, clowning, to say clowning, yeah. But yeah, improv was a big part of it, sure, but it wasn't like Groundlings or anything like that. It wasn't like that kind of like sketch improv, but you were kind of making your own stories come to life, creating characters, writing stories for them, you know, or not even characters, just things, you know. So yeah, lots of imagery, but yeah.
So you come out of NYU, you've had all these wonderful experiences, you're an African dance expert. So what's the first
I don't think I'd call myself an expert.
Where do you start your career after school? Do you stay in New York? Do you go back to Texas?
This is a trigger thing because I've only recently come to peace with this. In a way, I feel like I left too early, you know? Like I always plan on going back. Like I remember saying to my clowning teacher, I was like, I feel like I gotta get out of New York for a second. And he's like, I also totally had a crush on him, but he's like, take Bert, was my clown's name, Bert. He's like, take Bert on a walk around the world and come back. I never went back. Bert just kept cruising. Bert's still cruising. But there's a little bit of a trigger thing for me, but I listened to this amazing podcast. Like for you, anyone listening, there's this amazing podcast called A Mighty Practice. And this woman, she's incredible. She talks about like the different creative types and finding like your creative seasons, you know. I'm very much in a generating season, like a making and a doing and putting it out there season. But something she said, I don't know if you can relate to this, Jordan, is the striver. And the striver is sure drivers. Yeah, we're gonna make shit happen. I mean, I think you're probably a driver, like making this podcast, But it's like we have an idea, we make it come to life, right?
Totally.
We do it. We're in there, we're doing it. We're to the studio, etc., whatever we're doing on stage, making it come to life. But at the same time, shit's never enough. Like I've never spent enough hours on this. I didn't do enough of this. Wait a minute, what about this opportunity? Oh shit, I didn't apply to that. It's like functioning from this place of scarcity. So I had this really just a couple days ago, this realization of like, oh wow, ooh. So even me, the way that I used to think about New York, that's like fucking scarcity.
Yeah.
Like not enough.
Yeah.
Like I didn't spend enough time there, but I had so many crazy ass adventures since then,
Totally.
Like, you know what I mean? So that's been like a huge, literally, this is like the past couple days. This was like a big realization for me. I think it also relates to like my FOMO and what I call like my adventure anxiety. Like my partner and I go on these insane adventures, and like we've been together 13 years now.
Okay.
But sometimes I get like overwhelmed with the possibilities, that's fucking scarcity. I'm changing that shit. Identifying and changing like something, something I can work on.
It's all about just that perspective, right? Kind of like glass half empty, glass half full. Just find a way to like come at it from the other.
Exactly.
So where did you
sharing that? Yeah.
So where did you first go after you left New York? Where did you and Bert take a stroll to?
Well, at the time, I met all these cool people. Well, I'd spent a couple summers in Hawaii because my best friend was living there. Where did I go right after? Oh, right after college, I went to Hawaii again. Because I finished a semester early. So I went with a new buddy. I went with NYU buddy. And just went and had some like Hawaii adventures, a lot of scandal, just adventure, straight up adventure. I think I got an agent in Honolulu, but whatever. Like I was just having fun, like just adventures. And then I met all these people. Then I went back to NYU to do like the graduation ceremony. And then, my mom and I like drove back to Austin. And because I was like, well, I'm either going to take this adventure job, leading tours, right? Like driving vans and, those adventure companies. I don't even know if those, like leading people on these treks, to like the national parks or something. And I'm going to apply to that. Or I'm going to audition for Shakespeare in the Park in Austin, and start doing stand-up, right? My plan was not to like return home, I was like, ooh, there's this opportunity, this is cool. So I was just going back to my parents' house to like reset, and not pay rent for like a couple weeks. I got the adventure job, and I got cast in like this like Shakespeare thing. In the park, Shakespeare in the Park, in repertoire, 2 different shows. Like the lead in one, and As You Like It, I was like Celia, and then I was the slut in Othello. But anyways, I ended up doing that. So got my own place in Austin proper. Like my parents live like outside of it, and started doing stand up. That was happening, and then I was like, okay, so that's it. 6 months here, and and then my buddy was opening a place in Costa Rica. So at the time I was just like traveling and performing, just, and I was like, what, 23, 22.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. You're talking about your FOMO. You didn't spend enough time in New York. You'd have been like in like a 5th floor walk up with you're in Hawaii and Costa Rica. And
I know, I have a problem. I know. But hey, at least I identified it at 46. So
there you go.
But so God, long story. So whatever. And at that time, as far as romance went, I was just, I can cuss on this show. I've already cussed a lot.
Yeah, you're good.
I've already cussed a lot. But I was like fuck buddy person. Like that was my stilo. Right. And then I was working at this, I was bartending at this Italian joint in Austin, but I met this dude, and I don't know, he was serious about me, and I was like, stop. And I was like, listen, don't get too serious. I'm moving to San Francisco next, you know? And whatever, I flew to Miami with him. I can't believe I'm telling this on a podcast. I flew to Miami with him to like check out some culinary school he wanted to go to. And then he proposed to me. And I was like, I was like, what are you fucking doing? And
how long had the two of you been together at this point?
That dude, I don't know, not long, like 6 months.
Oh my God.
No, maybe a year. No, that honestly, I don't know. I don't know. Try to block it out. But I am a divorcee. So yeah, so I said yes. And then we landed and he's like, why aren't you telling people? And this is obviously pre-social media. It's like barely even have a cell phone. I don't even think I had a cell phone then because it's like 2000. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. I just want to adjust to the thought. And then I like tried to look, go back on. I was like, why don't we just be like boyfriend, girlfriend or whatever? And was not into that. Dude, I went through with it. It was a horrible idea. I went through with it. I threw the ring into a field the night before the wedding. My best friends found it. I'm like, what are you doing? But whatever. But we had moved. So I still moved to San Francisco. He gave up his freaking Miami dreams and moved to San Francisco. I'm like, okay, well. You know? So whatever, we were there, you know, and he was just so wrong for me. And I was like, oh, I'll give a serious relationship a try. I didn't know I was gonna get freaking married. And yeah, pretty ridiculous. I mean, like, let me tell you, I would feel really bad if he's listening. He kind of looked like Kid Rock.
Kid Rock? Okay.
Not my type at all. Not my type. Sorry if you're listening. Not my type at all. You know, was like jealous, insecure, also not my type.
Yeah.
You know. So had to end that one. But yeah, no, I say he left, you know, with his tail between his legs, head between his legs, whatever you call it. And tail head, same thing. And yeah, I stayed in San Francisco and that, you know, and at the time I was doing like sketch, comedy, improv, writing one-woman shows. And then, that's when I met like a major mentor of mine. Like, he kind of like became like my vocal coach, but then directed me in so much shit I was making. We made a bunch of shows together. I was in a bunch of like really cool collaborative ensemble stuff, but then was writing my own stuff. And then that's when I really was like, wait a minute, how can I combine I can combine rock and I can combine theater.
Right.
So at the time I was calling it like theater rock or something. But people were like, to dumb it down, it was like, I wrote a rock up. And, but it was about, I left this out. I left San Francisco for 10 months and I flew to Mexico City and then I traveled all the way down to the bottom of Panama by myself. And that was 2003. So, you know, no cell phone, had to go to internet cafes to check in with a really slow connection. You know, had like a phone card, you know, that I'd use to like check in. Yeah, it's crazy adventures. Like many of these adventures I probably shouldn't be alive today. Like I hitchhike and 18-wheelers and some crazy shit. But so that's when I wrote the rock opera, kind of about that, inspired by it. Wasn't like completely autobiographical. And I did that at the San Francisco Fringe like in 2005 and actually got best rock opera.
Yay.
That's San Francisco.
At what point did Hollywood come calling?
Well, Hollywood, I forgot. I moved to Amsterdam one summer too. That was during the NYU days though. That was mind-blowing. It was like a summer program.
That's fun.
But 2006 was when I moved to LA. You know, it was always in the plan. It was always the plan. But I just thankfully didn't do it.
Yeah. So in terms of just what you said earlier, you talked about wanting to be a movie star and a rock star from the time you were a little kid. But
Yeah.
now going into the experimental theater program and being, exposed to like multidisciplinary cabaret, basically. Did that change kind of like your trajectory? Like, I'm going to be a movie star, so I'm going to go to this program, get on a soap opera, try to hit Broadway, and then become a TV star, or did your
clearly I did not do that. No, because I moved down here with a good buddy of mine, one that I was making a bunch of stuff with up there. He was like my gay boyfriend. We lived together. We only lasted 6 months living together. But he went much more hustle the actor game in LA. Mm-hmm. And I was like trying to get an agent then, and yeah, I guess I eventually got one, but I just was like, it just wasn't clicking, Right. And I also was like, what? I'm gonna take all these. That was at the time when you took like casting director workshops. I was like, what? I just got out of fucking school. I'm not taking like fucking workshops. You know what I mean? So the rebellious part of me can obviously probably fuck me up sometimes. You know what I mean? Because I was like, fuck Hollywood, And of course, like these days, I'm like, yes, please put me on a Netflix show. Don't you want a feisty 46-year-old? Come on. There's hope. But yeah, I went much more the music route, at that time. I mean, yes, I had a commercial agent, did the thing, but I was not hustling the acting game at all.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe that disappointed my parents some. I think, they probably wanted to be like famous or whatever. But no, but they've always been supportive. Like whatever you want to do, you want to get divorced? Okay. You want to travel all over the place? Okay. You want to make weird shows where you take your shirt off? Okay. Yeah. But
so all the different places you've lived and traveled, do you have one, like you say, you don't feel like there was enough time in New York? Like, could you see yourself moving to New York at some point to extend your New York, experience? Or is LA kind of like where you see yourself based here on out?
It's a big question, Jordan.
Well,
you know what I want for my New York stitch? I mean, I used to always say, oh, have a place in New York, have a place, do the bi-coastal thing. Not doing that very well. But I would like to do a residency of sorts in New York. Like some sort of performance thing I'm doing, stay there. We also have a bunch of buddies there, so we've been trying to work out like a swap, like an even swap, like a house swap. So that's kind of what I foresee for that. But I mean, to be honest, I want a place in Mexico, and I want to be there a lot.
Yeah,
I'm serious. Like I need to be like hot weather, hot water, ocean, you know what I mean? Jungle, in my bikini or nothing. And yeah, so but yeah, I mean, there's always a chance we can move to the desert, but we have a really great situation in LA.
I feel like everyone's moved to the desert. Like I feel like so many people I know have like left LA for Palm Springs and
Joshua Tree. Yeah. I mean, you can get cheaper places. I mean, the Airbnb situation out there is like out of control right now. Because we used to try to do the Airbnb dream out there, but I mean, it's also a possibility. But we have rent control at our place.
Oh, well, that
you know what I mean? That's a huge thing. Here, let me just tell you my yard right now. Not that the viewers are going to see this, but I mean, like our house is small, but can you see
Oh, wow.
So you go all the way up those hills, that hill right there, and there's a whole other level, and we have a garage that's like our art studio, and then we have the music studio downtown. So,
oh my God. Yeah. So you're like, you're set up.
So, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I mean, the thing is, Austin, it's like, oh, that's where I grew up. It's like, oh, don't go back where you grew up. But my dude was like, yeah, Austin kind of has all the things you love. Like
Totally.
outdoor
It's got
adventure,
music.
water adventures, yeah, music, comedy, performance, weirdness, best food. You can sit outside all the time, frozen margaritas, tubing, my favorite thing. I'm gonna start a tubing business in Mexico. That's what I'm gonna do. For like a venue. I mean, maybe. Seriously, if I could have a place to display all my costumes, I'd be like this old lady you rent costumes from. I don't know. But did I answer your question?
Yes, you absolutely did. Oh, so aside from some of the stuff like we've been talking about, stunt driver, and a lot of the stuff that you're doing on your own, what have been some of the some jobs that you've had performance wise that other people have written that you've had really interesting experiences with?
Yeah, I've had some cool ones this last year. Obviously there was one we did together, I guess it was like 2 years ago. That was super fun. Let's see, last year I was, Tony Martinez is. He's like he, contrary to his name, he is actually like a rising country star.
Okay.
But he's kind of like old school. He's kind of like Waylon. He's got like the old school country vibes. Not that new gross pop country. But I got cast as his crazy girlfriend in this music video, and it was so fun. I just got to like throw a scene in this bar. I mean, but there were real patrons in there. People thought I was for real, and it was so fun. Yeah, I got to do a bunch of stuff. That was in Phoenix, and that was super fun. What was? Oh my God, that was at the end of the year. I got cast in this short. Gosh, why am I drawing a blank on this? Yeah, it was really cool. I was like the wild sister, believe it or not. Of this chick going through a hard time thinking her dude's cheating on her. So I was like kind of the best friend, wild sister. I can't think right now.
How about recording?
Yeah. I've done a lot of okay. A few different projects that have like written for TV shit, like reality, like I had a bunch of stuff in Vanderpump Rules. Siesta Key, that show, like a bunch of reality shows. Had some music in there. I've sang on some stuff recently. That I just got hired to do for spec, see if somebody picks up. Yeah, but I've really just been working on my own shit.
Well, that's the way to go. That's the thing to do, right? It seems interesting. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just having a conversation with a friend earlier today, and he was telling me about this new film he's making. He's like an experimental filmmaker. And I was like, well, tell me about it. And he's like, oh, there's these creatures in it. I'm like, why didn't you ask me to do it? And he's like, well, you're so busy. And I was like, I don't want, like, I'm always going to be busy because, like, if I don't create, like, if I go, like for instance, for Christmas, I took like 3 weeks off. But that was like too long. And I was like, why am I like bummed out? And then I was like, oh, because I haven't like made anything, So I like need that just for my own like happiness and fulfillment. So, but I don't ever want that to like prevent, because like one of my biggest loves and goals in life is just to make stuff with people who I truly enjoy their company.
Right.
Like to me, that's like one of the biggest and most precious and hard to find things. To collaborate with people you truly like enjoy as a human being. Yeah. So I don't ever want to be misconstrued, I guess, in that way, because I'm available to collaborate. But yeah, but this comedy world that I've like sort of re-entered, like the LA scene now, yeah, I'm just, like I said, making all this stuff. But I'm also like, hello, I like your work. Like maybe we should, like checking people out. Maybe we should make some shit together. So, but yeah,
Did you like, you just mentioned comedy. Did you like stand-up? You said you did some stand-up when you first moved back to Austin. Did you enjoy stand-up?
I did. I loved it, and I was doing pretty well. And then I auditioned for this thing on like HBO. Um, I remember I was like talking about like shitting in my pants or something, and then they cut me off. They were like, "Thank you, number 99." I didn't get on that show, but I did. And what's funny is, yeah. And then I started to do it in San Francisco, and the scene was just like, it's, I don't know, it's such a specific thing. Like these days, when I'm talking about comedy, I'm more doing like bits and like absurd stuff. Even though last night I did do stand up, I have jumped back into the traditional form, sort of, just kind of messing around with it. Last night was not my best, but that's okay. That's okay. I wouldn't say I like 100% bombed, but it wasn't my best. But then I was like, well, lately it's good to bomb. You know what I mean?
Keeps you humble.
It does keep you humble, because the ego, can be like, ooh, people are applauding you a lot, whatever. So yeah. I got a humility booster last night. But yeah, what I do
what do you
like
think
about
it was? Do you think it was the material, or do you think it was just kind of where you were in the zone of you and the audience?
I think that I was like too rehearsed or something.
Yeah.
I think I wasn't as off the cuff and wild and just like in the moment as I am with most things. And like there were moments, like in retrospect, not beating myself up, but I'm like, oh, there was that guy that went before you that you kind of knew, like I could, you know what I mean? There could have been like, what's up? I know, like I just didn't seize some moments, and yes, it was lottery style. So what that means is, you throw your name in a hat, you don't know if you're going to get chosen. And I was in the last round. So I had sat an hour and 15 minutes of stand up or something. And then I get called, you know what I mean? So you're like, oh,
yeah.
But I'm also want to use the stand up stage to explore absurd shit too. You know what I mean? Come in there with a character and people are like, what the fuck? Because people aren't really expecting that, right?
Totally.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. But I do like the simplicity in a way of, okay, so I can just come in with all these things about my life. I don't have to have all this tech. I don't have to have all these props, but whatever. I gravitate to the tech and the props and the unlimited possibilities, I guess, of that. So, yeah. And I mean, it's interesting because things have just been happening because I've simply been making, like, I haven't really, because usually I'm like, okay, Wednesday is it's booking day. And I'm like, blah, 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 bothering a million people, like, book me, and I just have not been in that mode. And you know what I mean? Listen, but I got some shows coming up in the comedy world. I'm just like, people have just asked me, and I'm like, well, that's cool. I didn't,
Yeah.
just by
but you're kind of like
making,
manifesting it, right? You're kind of giving that energy out, and it's coming back to you.
Yeah. And STUNTDRIVER, I wasn't planning on planning STUNTDRIVER shows until like July because I'm just seeing where it wants to go worldwide, and I'm writing new shit. Plan a show May 11th. It's opening for Thelma and the Sleaze. I don't know if you know who that is. They're kind of like a lesbian trucker rock band. They're awesome.
It's a specific niche.
Yeah. So it's happening. So I'm like, oh shit. I got a sticky note right here on my computer of like things I need to do to make that show different.
Are you a very organized person? Because it seems like you seem to have a lot of things going on.
Notebook, list. I mean, if I didn't, I don't know. Like I have to. Like I got to make lists. Like my partner, he's very organized. He's like OCD, but he doesn't make lists. No, he just like remembers what he needs to do and he's very efficient. But I'm insane. I mean, there's like a million post-it notes, like different notebooks for different things, like notes in my phone. No, I have to compartmentalize or else I get confused.
Do you kind of organize your day or your week like that? Like, oh, this is stunt driver day today, and this is XYD day today.
I have to. Yeah. Yeah. Like yesterday was comedy day. Today's gonna be comedy day. Yeah, then tomorrow, no, I'm back in the studio for music stuff. I have to. Yeah.
Where would you in a perfect?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Go for it.
No.
So stunt driver in a perfect world, you got whatever kind of funding you wanted, whether that's like a promoter or a grant. Like, where would you love to ultimately see stunt driver, or how would you love to see it, ultimately presented?
I mean, it would be so awesome to go back. It would be really awesome to go back to sort of the immersive version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Do it in Europe.
Yeah.
Like maybe Berlin, Italy, somewhere, France, Spain. Yeah, film it, put it on freaking Netflix, make some money from it. Tour with it. But it's so funny because I know we've talked about Stunt Driver a lot, but it's really been on hiatus for me. And even though I got this like $1,700 white leather suit that's hanging in my closet right now for Stunt Driver. Yeah, it's like, what is next? I personally, to make it exciting for me right now, I'm in this phase of what is the next development of it? And I just mean creatively. I don't even mean like what gig. I mean,
right,
as a project. Where is it? So that's kind of like this phase I'm in right now. But yeah, I always wanted to tour with it, but it'd be fun to tour with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really fun.
Yeah.
And really like shake up the rock world, shake up the cool, whatever rock situation, and because that's always been my goal, is to really straddle like, the performance world and the rock world.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard for Stunt Driver to get gigs because people are like, well, what is it?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I want to keep that going. But I also, like I said, just want to keep, there's all these variety shows around town, where you can do these different things I'm creating. And it's so fun.
When you create, do you have characters that you've created that you go back to and pull out of the trunk, or are you just constantly kind of coming up with new characters and new?
Right now, a bunch of new shit is coming out, and it's funny because I have my defaults like, hey, don't need to come out. That this lady, right? You know what I mean? But it's funny because I've been like veering away from them. For growth. But I'm like, well, shit, if it's easy, why don't I do it?
Hello. Work smarter, not harder, right?
Right? I'm like, just because something's easy, it doesn't mean that's bad. But yeah, so no, but I have I could probably share my screen with you and show you, or I could show you my phone, but in the notes on your phone, you can make those little charts. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like in notes, you can make the thing. So I just make little charts. So when new ideas come up, now I can't find them. I'm like, where'd they go? It's just
very
easy
organized.
for me to just jot them down real quick, because I have my little notebook too when I don't want to be on my phone in public, or something. But I have an idea. I look like I'm like a journalist, really just writing down some inspiration. Can you see this? Wait, it's blaring.
Yeah.
See? So it's like, what is it? What's the next thing? These are just ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a good show, but I gotta have some way to organize it. Or like I said, I just get overwhelmed. You know what I mean? And then if I get overwhelmed, nothing happens. So
Yeah.
if I'm clear, yeah.
All right, so as you create, are you just creating just to create, or as like you're working on like the comedy stuff now, is it specifically with an end goal in mind?
Well, yes. I mean, the comedy stuff that's coming out, yes, I want to do, like I said, there's all these, and it's just been so fun because like I said, I just jumped back into this like late January.
Uh-huh.
There's all these variety nights around town that you can get booked at. So yes, to get on a ton of those, totally. There's even some shit going on in Vegas. Never thought I'd say this, but there's this really cool company called Spiegel World, which would be rad. Because I mean, shit, go live there for a year, make a lot of money,
Yeah.
Like, MC stuff. I've been doing a lot of MC stuff, like hosting things, live events and shit, where I get to try out funny stuff. So I've been doing a lot of that.
Totally.
And there's like this ladies rock jam I host, where I go early. And yes, so I am in talks right now with this venue to develop something that I presented recently. So that would develop probably into an hour-long show. And one of my like musical collaborators, he's like super stoked on the clown world right now, so he is going to be involved in it as much as he can. I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I really just want to like perform shit all over the world with cool people. That is my main goal. Perform shit all over the world with cool people.
With cool people.
That's really like my main goal. But yeah, so apparently I might be making a new show, a show. Yeah. And I want to start a variety night, which I'd like to start in May. So I'm figuring out the venue for that,
Cool.
So with different mediums,
Yeah.
So obviously I'll be the host, but there'll also be like musical accompaniment. But there'll be like a performance art act, a clown act, magic act, music act, whatever.
Yeah.
Just to vary it up. Yeah.
So outside of your own creating, what do you gravitate towards as an audience member or as a viewer? Do you gravitate towards live music? Are you a television person? What are you watching or reading right now?
Well, right now, I mean, kind of like once a week, I usually see, I mean, not every week, but I try to see like a rock show and a comedy show. But mind you, the comedy I'm seeing is like very alternative, like almost means like performance art.
Right.
And that's the shit that excites me. Like, to be honest, I'm not necessarily interested in seeing a one-man show. Like, well, I was born here and you know what I mean? The whole linear thing.
Yeah.
I'm into it, not into it. Just, I don't gravitate towards that. Like, I like costumes. I like imagery. I like the grotesque. I like the absurd. I like shit that is definitely dangerous and on the edge. Yeah, like provocative, like forging or fucking with like boundaries between genres or mediums. That's my jam. That is my jam. And music wise, I mean, even shit that's very like theatrical as well. But even if it's not that theatrical, shit that really is present and just rocking. Like when people don't talk to the audience, it drives me nuts. I'm like, I get it, you're trying to create this like fucking thing. You can still be a persona. You can still create a world. But that's another thing. I like it when people talk to the audience in general. I like audience involvement.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do TV. I mean, I do watch it, but I usually don't get to it until like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. It's like an end of the day thing for me. It's like if my dude's around, I watch a little more.
Yeah.
Like we'll watch movie nights and shit. But he is actually right now, this very second, he's drummer. He is playing his first show with Gary Newman. You know who Gary Newman is?
Cool. Yeah.
a new drummer. Like right now he is. So let's send him some vibes.
Yeah.
Or he might have just finished. But yeah, in London. So,
that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, I'm proud of him. Yeah.
So where folks in our audience, where can they find out more about you?
Right. They're probably like really confused right now.
Where you hang out? Are you online? Are you big on the social media? I'm like so bad when it comes to social media. I'm horrible.
mean, I do it as like sort of an obligatory thing. And I will say though, I have found lately though, like last week I didn't get on stage anywhere, but I had all these ideas, and I can go to my studio and I can do them in front of a mirror and I can create, right? But there's nothing like having an audience to figure shit out. So sometimes I'll just film myself and like almost like just put it out online. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking to them. So, sometimes in that regard, but like for promotion, whatever. But yes, where can people find me? Instagram. My handle is Hawk. I used to go by Hawk. Still kind of go by Hawk. HAWK, like the bird. Hawk is IS Kym Priess. KYMPRIESS. I should have been getting a notification recently to renew KymPriess.com because I do own it, but I've never done anything with it. It's a nightmare. Websites, dude. I already paid like $200 for my other one. But Stunt Driver, also on the social media website too. It's just Stunt Driver Music. StuntDriverMusic.com too.
Cool.
That website is actually up and running.
Do you handle your own social media, or do you have someone else do it?
Unfortunately,
I don't have the patience for it. I think that's what it is more than anything.
Yeah. I don't know, but I do this thing because sometimes late at night, right? I'll just be like, I just want to look up something I'm curious about really quick on Instagram, right? And then before you know it, you're like, where am I? You know what I mean? It's like 20 minutes have gone by. You have no idea what happened.
Totally.
So it's really bad. And I don't want to go to bed with images from social media in my head. I think it's really unhealthy. So, I mean, I do that thing where screen time, where your phone like shuts mostly everything down at a certain time. Yeah. So I do that. Of course you can break it. On weekends, I try to straight up log out. Yeah. Instagram, just log out. Yeah. And I have like a time limit set on it, but you know what it is. Remind me in 15 minutes. So it's not good. Not good to eat before bed. It's not good to look at Instagram before bed.
Really, it's not good to do anything before bed, right? Except for like stare at
Exactly. Yeah, it's not even good to watch TV before bed. Just like lay there and think about what you're grateful for.
There you go. That's all that one does. Oh my God, it's been so cool.
Yeah, sorry, I feel like I did most of the talking.
That's okay. That's if I did most of the talking, they'd be sick of me.
I mean, you are the host.
Indeed. Well, thank you. So next time when I'm back in LA, we'll have to get together, and hopefully.
No, keep going. Oh. I am, but keep going, and then I'll ask you.
No, and I said, and hopefully that project that we worked on will be out of post.
Yeah, we'll all become stars.
Right? Indeed. Yep.
I am available for casting everybody, even though I dogged on Hollywood.
By the way. Well, thank you for joining us. And thank you all out there in the audience for joining us as well. Check out Kym Priess. On our site, we'll make sure to have all of her contact information up. And we will see you all next week for another episode of Showtime with Jordan Van Haslo and Friends right here on Hot 702.5 FM Las Vegas. See you next week.
Hi there, it's Jordan Van Haslo. I don't know if you know this, but everyone's favorite radio show and podcast is now available on Spotify. That's right. Showtime with Jordan Von Haslo and Friends, my weekly one-on-one chat with some of the most interesting people I know in entertainment and the arts, can now be streamed on Spotify. I share real estate with Joe Rogan. Click on the link and be sure to subscribe. And don't miss us live on Hot 702.5 FM Las Vegas.